everybody. So today we're going to be learning about Powhatan land, and we're going to use our charts that we have been filling out. But today we're going to focus on the land. So if you turn your chart over, there should be a section that has Native American group, climate, land, and today we're going to fill out the land part. First, before we do that, I'm going to go ahead and read some about the Powhatan land. So, long before the first colonies crossed the Atlantic and landed in Virginia, thousands of people were already here, living in many busy villages along Virginia's rivers and shores. Some of those people were part of the Powhatan Nation, a union of about 30 different Indian tribes. The Powhatan were part of a group we call the Eastern Woodland Indians. Woodlands are regions with lots of trees. The thick forests gave the Powhatan people everything they needed to live well: turkeys, rabbits, squirrels, deer, and bear. There were bark and wood for building houses and dugout canoes. Life was very good for all of Virginia's Indians. So now we're gonna go to the side. I think you can see it. Okay. Virginia had about 200 Powhatan settlements when English colonists started Jamestown in 1607. The Powhatan lived in busy villages tucked in the woods along the river banks. They lived in long houses, which were wood frame houses covered with bark or woven reed mats. Powhatan life. Virginia's mild winters and hot, humid summers were good for growing things. Powhatan men fished and hunted, while women farmed and taught their kids how to plant and harvest roots, nuts, tobacco, and fruit. Food was cooked over outdoor fire pits and stirred into yummy stews. Women ground corn to bake tasty breads and smoked meats, and fish which were dried and stored in baskets for winter when food was scarce. For hundreds of years, the Powhatan and the other Virginia Indians lived, played, and worked along our rivers and bays until the arrival of explorers and settlers from Europe almost ended their way of life. Okay, so now we're going to go ahead and get our chart out and turn it. We already filled out this side for Powhatan, so now we're going to turn to the back, and we should have our Native American group is the Powhatan still. And yesterday you guys filled out this one with Miss Brown, the climate. And today we're going to look at the land. So, after reading that little story about Powhatan, we can say that the land that the Powhatan lived on included rivers, hills, mountains, and coastlines. And I went ahead and drew a river, some hills, and some mountains. And Miss Bond isn't the best artist, so hopefully you can tell what those are. And then our coastlines are areas along rivers or bays where the Powhatan group lived. So if you want to go ahead and pause the video and get this part of the chart filled out, you can go ahead and do that and then push play whenever you're ready to move on. So now that we have filled this out, it's important that we understand that Powhatans used canoes for their transportation, as you remember learning yesterday or the other day that one of the Powhatan's ways of transportation was canoes. So they were able to use canoes as their transportation because they lived along rivers. So that's why they were able to use canoes to go up and down rivers, is because they lived on the coastlines of rivers or bays, like the Chesapeake Bay. Okay, it's also important to know that the Powhatan used what they had available on their land because that's what helped shape their transportation, their occupations, their homes, and even the food they ate. So because we're the type of land that the Powhatan lived on, that's how they were able to build their homes, have the different jobs they have, like fishermen, because they were along rivers and bays, and used the type of transportation they had, like dugout canoes. So that was all due to the land that they lived on. So the next activity that you will be doing about Powhatan land will be a question that you'll answer if you hit next in the module. And the question is going to say, what did the land that the Powhatan lived on include? And for that question, you can use what we filled out in the chart. So the land that the Powhatan lived on included rivers, hills, mountains, and coastlines. So that is what the land that the Powhatan lived on included. Okay, so this is our last day of filling out our Powhatan Native American group. And tomorrow you will be filling out our next Native American group, the Lakota. So that's all I have for you today. You can go ahead and do your activity, our question that we just went over for Powhatan land. And I hope you guys have a great day, and I will see you tomorrow or next week. Bye.